Welcome back to LWO Radio, episode 2. I'm Holla, and I'm so pumped to be here tonight, guys. Welcome to the second episode of LWO Radio, the smash hit from week 1. We've had a fantastic week. Before I go any further, though, big shout out to everyone in the chat room who is watching and waiting and viewing us right now. Your support all week has been amazing. Our theme song, as you know, Microphone by the Nessmans, which is, of course, available on SoundCloud. I actually went one step further for those of you who are unsure how it works. I want you to check it out down below. We've put the Nessmans SoundCloud into the link tonight, so you can go listen to their whole album. If you want the CD, you got to get a hold of Spilly Benson. Big thanks to the Nessmans there. And of course, if you like what you're seeing, if you enjoyed the first episode, you think you might like this episode, and I got a sneaky feeling you're going to like this one because we've got a cracker in store. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. We've got almost 40 subscribers in the last week, which has blown us all away. Tons of views from the first episode. Hit that subscribe button in YouTube. Give us a thumbs up. Let us know that you're liking, and get involved in the live chat tonight, legends. As you do, I understand several legends were Zooming. They pre-funked this thing, so we're looking forward to having a great night tonight. Before I go any further, want to make some introductions because, you know, that's what we do here on LWO Radio. And as you know, I've got one of the best co-hosts in the business. This guy is going by the name Mr. Shitbit. It is that real for this guy. Scotty Too Hottie from Langford, British Columbia. How are you doing in the fame, basking in the glory of LWO Radio?
My life has been turned upside down since just reading our sponsor. For everyone that needs to know, I had nothing to do with them sponsoring us. I am not a creator of the Shitbit. I'm just a big fan. I didn't go through all the features of it last week. It does have a charging cable at the back. For some that have asked, that is not the turtle head technology. The turtle head technology, if you go back, is a bit bigger. So that's just to charge it up. But yeah, no, it's been mind blowing how many texts and phone calls. My parents don't want to talk to me anymore. It's been a fantastic week.
Hey, you've been in isolation voluntarily. What have you been doing in isolation other than responding to your adoring fans?
Well, as you know, I created this beautiful studio for recording in my bedroom, and we opened her up last week, this time Friday, and I haven't left yet. I have everything I need back there. It's a bathroom. I filled the tub up with beer and ice, so we're good for a while. I can sustain on that. My cat's over there. It's pretty nice. And yeah, I've just been avoiding my family like the plague. So it's been good.
Well, thanks for coming back, Scotty. We're happy to have you back. I wouldn't do it any other way. And of course, another guy that's coming back for more. He wants more punishment. The internet sensation, a guy who lit up episode 1 just with his reactions alone. A guy who is here not only as a legend in his own right, but as the author of A Perfect Day. Of course, I'm talking about Mac Daddy. Mac Daddy, welcome back.
Oh, so good to be here, boys. Second time and possibly last time. This doesn't happen too often. So God bless Holla for putting this together, allowing me to come and be a part of LWO history here, being online. Boom.
And you have changed everything up in Mantown, it looks like. We've got some more things to see and view. What's going on in Mantown?
Well, just a few little additions, a little bit of, hunt for the little treasures. We got a little street sign back there, Legends Drive. Might be putting that up sometime in the near future here. I got some Nessmans paraphernalia. I got LWO songbook added back there. So, just something for the people in the know to have a little look around and see maybe some little tidbits and treasures.
I love it, Mac. Before we go any further, before I introduce the next guest, we did have some feedback on the show. Brian Major, who I believe is in the chat today, he sent us some feedback. He said, that was incredible. Best lockdown night I've had so far. A live stuntman, legendary. Thanks for listening, Brian Major. Brent Koskamaki said, in a time of economic uncertainty, my clients want to know their money is safe, and nowhere is safer than up the arse of a legend. Ship it is a winner. Thank you, Koski. And finally, ratings for the Tiger King are playing second fiddle to LWO Radio. Sensational stuff. And that was actually from Netflix, so please don't sue us, Netflix. So some great feedback. I love the fact that it's bringing the boys together, and we're having a lot of fun with it. So again, thanks for joining us. And you know, without further ado, I think it's time we introduce this week's guest. So you know, one of the great things about technology is we can leverage it, and we're going to use technology on this one. So I'm going, of course, over here. Very exciting. I'm going to hit share. And here it is.
And now, the officials are ready. The fighters are in the ring. And they are ready. Fight fans, are you ready? For the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world on YouTube, ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble! The champ is here! 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 The champ is here!
That's right. The champ is here. Put your hands together for this guy. Look at that belt. Oh, he's calling us out, legends. He is calling us out. I can't think of a better way to introduce a guy like that than with his own custom tech. It's unbelievable. Look at the belt. Welcome to the episode, champ. Welcome to LWO Radio. I think your fans are happy.
Thank you, Holla. It's been a long time since the champ has seen the legends and the people, and it's just great that I can be back on LWO Radio to see all the fans.
Awesome. And we're going to talk about some pretty legendary things today, I think.
Well, I bet you're going to talk about them. Whether I'll remember them is another thing, but there are many things that we've got memories of, and that's why I've got my corner man there, Mac. He's going to really help and share in the memories of what some people have called the perfect day.
Unbelievable, champ. So humble. You are the people's champ. I love it. But you know, this is the night to brag. We got all the legends online. And before we go any further, I do want to shout out some of the guys in the chat, including watching worldwide all the way from T-Dot. Jose's in the house. Jose, welcome to LWO Radio. Happy to see you here. We've got Keelan's on the line. Looking good yourself, I'm sure, Keelan. Bartman, Master the Tech, thank you. He wants Bremner's beer allowance tonight, so he wants to know what it is. Bremner, maybe don't answer that. Of course, our executive producer, T Money from episode 1. Thanks for joining us. Who else we got in there that I would like to shout out? Of course, we've got Ryder Patch. Thanks, Ryder, for joining us. Appreciate it. Luke is in the house, showing his appreciation for the champ. And of course, we've got the Honey Badger. Look at this. He's ready to drink. That reminds me, guys, as I said last week, it's the same this week. Make sure you've got a beer in your hand. It will make this show better. It's going to make our performance better. And if we make a mistake, you probably won't notice it. So lots of folks on the line. Who's a few more that we got Glanville. Welcome to the show, Ryan. I think I mentioned Poulos, but if I didn't, he's got to ship it on right now so we can track him. The legendary Monty objects to the Chelsea scarves in Mantown. Thanks for joining us, Monty. Glad to have you back. I think that's just about everyone, but if I missed you, we will get to you. We are going to be doing a Q&A later in the show. So guys, get your questions ready. We'll take a look at that next episode. Couple more that have come through. Of course, Bremner is in the chat. Hopefully the pre-party worked out for you, Bremner. And I see the legendary Coolio. He just yelled his own name. That is pretty legendary. All right. So as you guys know, that's the intro's done. We've done that. We've got to get on to the show dedication. And this week, we've got a special legend that we are dedicating the show to. Of course, I'm talking about another legend who is actively involved with battling COVID-19. And this week's dedication is going to a guy who's actually helping build ventilators for Health Canada. Of course, I'm talking about Jay Haas, and there he is in the red rectangle, beautiful Dukes FC there with Pebbles. Looks like his belt's undone. What else is new? Thanks for that, Pebbles. But of course, this episode is dedicated to Jay Haas. Jay Haas, thank you for everything you do. Thanks for being a legend. And let's get those ventilators out. So cheers to that. Cheers to that, legends. Okay. And the number one section returns from last week. I'm talking, of course, about the sponsor's message. This week, nobody really knows what it is other than this man. I'm talking, of course, about my co-host, Scotty Too Hottie Rimek. Scotty, over to you for the episode sponsor.
Thank you, Jeff. That was a big deal, just being able to read that. But as you know, it's not me that's doing this. You know, these are great companies that are looking to invest in us, and all we can do is help them out. So, you know, let's read the next one here, shall we? Jeff, you sit down occasionally, right?
I've been known to sit down occasionally, yes.
And yourself being a male, you likely have testicles as well, correct?
Last time I checked, Scotty.
Well, then, undoubtedly, as a male with testicles that occasionally sits down, you likely have suffered from reckless sitting behavior, resulting in squashed balls. Well, I'm here to tell you that that may be a thing of the past. From the creators of the Shitbit, Hoax Corp brings to you a new device in the fight against reckless male sitting ball squishing, the Retractisac. The Retractisac is an easy-to-assemble kit that can be retrofit into nearly any pair of pants or shorts in a matter of minutes. Simply create a small hole in the crotch of your pants using the tools provided in the kit. The Retractisac's assembly drawstring easily passes through the front of the crotch hole and is nearly immediately ready for use. Place your testicles into the cradle of the assembly, lined entirely with genuine Saskatchewan sealskin leather. Now get ready to have your life changed forever. With a gentle pull of the drawstring before you sit down, your testicles are gently urged forward into a new position, allowing you to sit down without any fear of suffering from squashed balls. Now you will never again have to sit in fear. The drawstring is visible, and it's meant to be. You will be joining a group of men that aren't afraid to stand up, no, sit down, and say, enough is enough. And what will the ladies think, you ask? Well, if I know ladies, and I think I do, they're likely thinking, there goes a man that takes care of his balls. Retractisac, proud sponsor of LWO Radio. Back to you, Jeff.
Incredible stuff, Scotty. I'm assuming we just order on the website, but you know, if you guys are looking for that, which I know,
no idea. I didn't look into that part of it.
We need to find out if there's some sort of bulk ordering, and if they come in black and yellow, I think is what the number one question that's going to come out of the chat tonight on this.
That sounds like a lot of work, so I'm not up for that.
Unbelievable. Okay, well, we'll get on that, but thank you very much. Order your Retractisac online or at popular retailers as soon as the global pandemic is over. I understand, before we get moving a little bit further, that Champ has something to say. I think we're getting something in for you, Champ. It's a strong silent type right now.
This is breaking news. This just in, Holla. Tony Sessa is not dead. He has been spotted on Facebook. Here is a recent Facebook post from Tony Sessa on December 25th, 2019, in fact, showing that he is not dead. We at LWO News Radio would like to apologize for this most grievous error made by our lead reporter, Troy Talifer, seen here on the left consuming one of many frosty beverages before reporting this story last week. Our sincere apologies to the Sessa family and the harm this has caused them. In a related story, we are now hearing that Mike Perry is dead. Stay tuned for the latest updates tonight at 11. Now, back to our regularly scheduled program, already in progress.
Wow, Champ. Unbelievable, folks. He really is the people's champ. He just brought somebody back to life that Troy accidentally killed last episode. Unbelievable. You know, I feel like we could just wrap the show on that note right there, but of course we're not going to, because we're only about 15 minutes in, and we've still got a lot of content to go. Awesome. Well, great. Thank you, champ. Thanks for doing that. I really appreciate it. And I'm sure Tony appreciates it as well if he ever hears about LWO radio, which won't be long given the amount of views as we circulate the globe worldwide. On to our first.
Walking my dog yesterday, and I just said, "Hey, you're alive." And he looked at me sort of strangely because he lives 3 minutes from me.
Well, give him our best. And please apologize for Mr. Telefers' behavior on the last episode.
We do our
Or
best.
kill him.
What? All right. As you guys know, LWO Radio, we've got our origin segment, and this is where all the magic is happening this week. So this week, our origin segment is around the making of the champ. We have gone through great lengths to reread the popular novel and biography of the champ, A Perfect Day. And we are excited because we not only do we have the champ himself here, but we have Mac Daddy, who is the Pulitzer Award-winning author of The Perfect Day. I'm going to send it now over to Mac. Mac, let's talk about The Perfect Day and, of course, the making of the champ.
Ooh, well, and that title, The Perfect Day, is not hyperbole. This day that the champ came to be was literally something that was scripted in Hollywood minds everywhere, but they would say, no, we cannot film this. It is too unreal. People will not buy this. But it happened, and it was the perfect freaking day. So just to set this up a little bit, Williams Lake used to host a tournament, a soccer tournament, back in the day, July long weekend. And we went up there a number of times with Salmon Arm boys. And then eventually we kind of mixed in when we got some of the Victoria guys as well. We go to that tournament, just have a real good time up there. The Williams Lake crew took real good care of us as far as like showing us a really good time. They put on a great soccer tournament. And so this particular weekend was in 2004. And the actual day was Saturday, July the 3rd. So right after Canada Day. And but we roll up into Williams Lake. And the previous night, we try to make the tournament like super fun, have a good time. And the previous night, we had a belt, a championship belt. I think it was like just a plastic one from like a dollar store type thing. And we decided that was going to be something we would pass around and have to do challenges to win this. And then, if you're the holder of the belt, you get, bragging rights and whatever. So on Friday night, we had a couple challenges, and Wade and I, one of the challenges was you had to eat one of those big Costco muffins. Like these things are as big as a plate. You had to eat one of these muffins and then immediately afterwards, a pound of beer. And so Wade has a chocolate muffin, chocolate chip, I believe. And mine was a blueberry. And we had this competition, and Wade destroyed me, pounded back that chocolate chip muffin, pounded back a beer, and won the title of, having the championship belt. Now that in itself would have been kind of fun and all good. But the next morning is when things got crazy. And so we wake up, we were staying at the Gustafson's household, and right away on our way to the soccer fields, Wade, in his wisdom, I think saw the chance to unify the championship belt that we had and the beer leader jersey that we had. We had a beer leader jersey made up that was kind of like the Tour de France yellow leader jersey. And so it was an old like hockey jersey with the sleeves cut off. And it said beer leader. I don't think it even said beer leader at this time, maybe. Maybe it was just the sleeveless jersey. Anyway, Wade saw this. Sorry?
It was just a number 5 at the time, I believe, wasn't it?
Oh, I think you're right, Scotty. You nailed it. Yeah, you're right. It just had the number on the back. And I think it was maybe, can't remember who added the drawing up front, maybe Coolio. But Wade woke up. There it is right there. Yeah, nice, champ. So Wade woke up and saw the chance to unify the beer leader jersey and the championship belt, and shotgunned 2 beers like right when we were waking up. And most of us were pretty hungover and kind of like, no, I don't want to drink any beer. But Wade was just like, I'm down. He wasn't playing in the soccer tournament that weekend, which is a really key aspect to that. So he went from being the Muffin Man for winning that, and that was his title for most of the next day. We called him Muffin Man because he won this title. And then so now he's got the beer leader jersey as well. So he's unified these titles. This was like a little bit of a sign that things were going to go like crazy and things to come. So maybe Wade, can you just give me a little bit of thoughts? Like when you wake up, what are you thinking at that time when you get up on Saturday?
Well, Mac, I have to tell you, when the first time you guys came to me with this thought of the perfect day and this episode being aired, initially struck fear into my heart, since I remember very little to nil about this actual day. So for me to come on to YouTube in front of a plethora of legends to talk about a day that really we should have named this episode Random Flashes and Sounds, because that's all I really have got from this day.
That's basically your intro.
Yeah.
Just especially if you've been pre-funking with the boys, it was just flashing lights and sounds, probably to Bremner and a few others.
Being led around pretty well by my entourage, just putting me in the right place at the right time and doing my best to help the team out as best I could in my injured state. I remember I'm not going to be able to play, but we're going to make this a party for everyone.
Oh, and that happened. That happened. So we get to the soccer fields, and we're kind of like hungover, putting our gear on really slowly. And Wade is feeling a little spry, even though he's injured and probably hungover, but he just shotgunned 2 beers, so he's got a little bit of a glow going. And he grabs a football. There was a football in the soccer bag. I believe it was Ben Stanchfield's soccer or football. And he starts throwing it on the sideline. I can't remember. Do you remember who you were throwing it with, Wade?
Might have been Ron Ellis.
Yeah, that seems legit. So they're chucking it back and forth. And then Wade's starting to he's got a little bit of kind of like some confidence going. And he's like, Matt, get over here. You catch the ball when Ron throws it. Pass it to me. I'm not going to catch that and risk jamming my finger. I'm the starting quarterback. And so he gives me that. And then so I'm like, oh, yeah, I'll go along with this. And I'm catching the ball and I'm handing it to him. And he's getting like a little bit of kind of real cockiness going on. And he's going back and exaggerated flip. So good. And then he goes off him. He spouts. I passed him the ball one time and he just loses it. Laces out, McDonald. Possibly you're sheeshy. You'll never make this team. I'm the starting quarterback. Know your role. Sit back down on the bench. And so I sheepishly go with sit down, and Troy replaces me passing the ball. But that was like that kind of machismo that Wade was showing at that time was definitely a sign that things were kind of going in the right direction. So that was like, that was good.
So we've established that clearly, like you said, things are going in the right direction. Cheb doesn't really remember much. I would hope he would maybe remember a bit of the morning.
Yeah.
But I think I asked this question last week too. Mac, do you clearly, a path has been set forth for the champ. A path is there. He's going down that path. He may not realize it. He's just following his feet. But do you realize what's to come? Like, is there a realization like, hey, wait a second? Like, or is it just, it's so spontaneous? I mean, you've seen other people that have been in this state that it just kind of unfolds in that perfect way? Like, what is your thought at the time? Like, are you thinking, okay, yeah, Champ's on one?
Well, Wade had a history of not really like hardcore partying. Like, he'd have a good time and have some beers and, you know, be with the boys, but like to take it to the level.
I was officially Monty's first. Well, after his brothers, I was Monty's first handler, so I had to make sure that Monty got home alive.
Yeah. So the reputation wasn't there. And so, you know, I thought, okay, this is kind of funny. It's probably gonna, you know, he'll peter out and eventually, whatever, we'll just have a good party day. But I think what really took it to the next level was after, and I can't even remember the games. Totally don't remember any of that, and I wasn't even like in an intoxicated state at that point. But the games were over.
Foosball.
But Ron Ellis,
partner.
Ron Ellis, after maybe our first actual soccer game, or maybe after the second one, finished off 5 beers pretty quickly. And he came up to Wade and was like, Wade, just finished my 5th beer. Give me the beer leader jersey. And I distinctly remember Wade having a beer in his hand and looking at Ron, and then kind of looking down at the jersey, looking at Ron, and he said, "Ain't going out like that, sucker." And then he pounds the beer and then slams it down and does like one of these little, like, you know, X. Yeah, there it is. Gives one of those. And then he says, "No, I'm keeping this jersey." When that happened, that was a sign for me, like, okay, this could get pretty good, because Ron now is pushing Wade, and Wade is like, "No, I'm not giving this up." If Wade had just said like, "Oh yeah, fine, whatever, okay, you're ahead of me," regular day. But this is the perfect day.
There was a couple times there where maybe not in the normal viewpoint of most of the team, where Ronnie was an intimidating guy in his own way. And there was a couple times, he might have been in the beer line or sitting by the fields, where he was whispering and where no one else could hear, saying, "Champ, I'm coming for you." Wade at the time, I guess. But you just felt that ominous presence of Ronnie Ellis. Really wanted that. At the time, the coveted prize was the beer leader jersey. So that was really all I could hang on to at the time.
But it is somewhat visionary to say, look, we've got the championship belt on one hand. We've got the beer leader on the other hand. I mean, there's some sort of lucidness, drunkenness, call it what, genius, one of those S's that has to come to, maybe all three, that has to come together and said, you know what? I'm not content with that. I want that. And together, I don't know what I'm doing with my fingers. That together, we're gonna do that to the day, right? We're gonna give it large to the day. So, do you remember at any time in the pre-super drunkenness state that you got to where you're like, yeah, I want those two things. I want that.
I just remember an interior competitive nature that I just, you're going to a soccer tournament and you're really just as Joe Sawada, shout out to Jose out in TO right now, the T dot, just calling you a shisher, really. It's like, this guy's here, he's on the team, but he's a shisher, he's just hanging out, he's injured, whatever. So I really wanted to somehow contribute to the team being up there. Like, we drove up 6-7 hours and I had to do something. So it was that yellow jersey was just my way of clinging on to some sort of contribution to the team.
That's amazing. Hey, I got a question for you, quick, champ. Going through the perfect day, there's so many plot turns and twists. I love reading it. As I mentioned to you before, I read it to my daughter on her 5th birthday to make her more of like becoming a man. But the heel in this story seems to really be Ron for the most part, but there's always Coolio there, and he's just nipping at the heels, kind of like one of those yippy bitch dogs that you see, like little ladies carrying their purse and stuff. Was Coolio ever like, did he challenge you for anything at any point? Like, I know he challenged you, but did he challenge you at any point for anything?
You know, Coolio was on my team. Also, so was Ronnie. Ronnie was hurt too, I think, and that's sort of why he also felt he had to get shittered up and try to do something for the team that way too. Coolio, there was a time, I think, and I'm gonna maybe succeed to Mac here on. Wasn't there a boat race with two people that I knew that I think I just finished the challenge or something. I had downed a beer, and there was like I think a 10-minute time limit that I think I had my trusty Timex watch on at the time. And I would set, after a challenge, I would have that 10-minute timer on there just so I could, try to stop myself from spewing. And Coolio came up and said, I challenge you for that beer leader jersey. And so I had, first 5 minutes, I was just busy trying to keep down the last challenge beer. And so I knew I had the presence of mind that I had to somehow make a challenge that was impossible to lose. And so I, in my drunken genius, decided we're going to have a 3-person boat race, but I get to choose my team. And so at the time, there really was no question who the 2 fastest boat race drinkers in probably all of British Columbia, I would say at the time, was Ben Stanchfield and Ripper. They could drink a beer faster than most people could drink a shot of water. And so I remember saying, okay, Coolio, we're having a boat race. My team is Stanch and Ripper. And basically, I just saw the life in Coolio's eyes fade, knowing that there was no chance that he was going to have any hope of winning this particular challenge. So I remember having the state of mind of picking a non-losing challenge and picking Ripper and Stanch, but then I can let Mac describe actually how it went, because I sort of blacked out after that.
And to be fair though, champ, you at that time, this was deep into the evening at that point. So for you to like have a ringer competition, fine, but you're still having to drink a beer, and you're probably at this time, like, I don't know exactly, but probably because you had to have a beer after every challenge. I'm thinking you were probably like 15, 16, 17 beers deep at this time. So for you to follow that competition was great great foresight, first of all, considering your state, and you still had to pound a beer, which, unbelievable. So Randy Ripplinger and Benny, it was just like, as soon as you said that, everyone was just like, whatever. And Coolio knew it too. It was over. So, but maybe let's back it up before that. Like right after, and still in the like maybe early afternoon. At this point, Wade was the Muffin Man, because he had won the championship belt by eating a muffin. And so he was known as the Muffin Man, and people were calling, and he was, at this point, he had his mojo going. Like, it was like he was walking around like king of the world, and people were eating it up. Like, he was so good. He was kissing baby. Like, I remember it. There were people with like their kids there, and he was like kissing babies, and he was chatting with people in the crowd. There's a guy who looked like Okanee Ranger, who who he was having a good conversation with. That was really good, and the crowd loved that. And he was taking pictures and signing autographs. So right now, Champ's holding up a picture. That is young, one of the Purnett boys, Conley Purnett. These kids come up and ask, "Hey, Muffin Man, can we get your autograph?" And Wade's eating it up, and they're eating it up. And so he signs these napkins, and he would sign it, Muffin Man, like, dear kid, dare to dream, signed Muffin Man, and stuff like that. Unbelievable, so good. And at this point too, Wade, just to be another little detail, Wade wasn't drinking out of, in his own words, those shishi plastic cups. He was drinking out of a wine decanter that somehow he tracked down. So in honor of that, I got myself a little wine decanter here.
That's not a that's a vase.
Yeah, well, I couldn't find a wine decanter. Anyway, so imagine Wade walking around signing autographs for kids, drinking beer out of a wine decanter. And he's like walking and sloshing around everywhere. It was just absolute magic. And by late afternoon, it was so good. He was like the king of these beer gardens. And later on, we're like, we got to get this guy something to eat. And so Troy goes to get him an actual muffin from the concession. And I am not making, none of this stuff is made up. This is all full on legit. Troy went up there, wanted to buy a muffin. He said, Wade over there, he's getting like pretty out of control. We're going to take care of him. We got to get some food in him. Can we get a muffin? And the guy running the concession said, if it's for the Muffin Man, no charge, free of charge. They gave it. And so Troy brings it over, and Wade gets himself a muffin just to relive the previous days. And as he was eating the muffin, each time he would go and sign an autograph, he would pinch off a little bit of the muffin and hand feed it to whoever he was talking to. It was absolute magic. So good. Break off a little piece and daintily just like hand feed it to the people he was hanging out with. And they loved it. They literally ate it up. It was so good.
And upon rereading The Perfect Day, I noticed that, unbeknownst to me at the time, there was a lot of mustached men out there that I was feeding muffins to. I don't remember that, but a lot of mustaches in the puddle that year.
Champ, I gotta ask you a question. Do you ever think that how old were those kids in that photo? Were they like 8 years old? 7 years old. That's 15 years ago.
Yeah.
So do you ever think that there's a 25-year-old kids out there now? I mean, adults now probably have jobs, maybe they have families, that they've got the Muffin Man autograph framed and on their wall. I bet you at least one of them still has their autograph. Still has it.
Maybe Mac has his, because looking in The Perfect Day, he got this one. That's when I was actually somehow the champ, but it says to Mac, much love, the champ.
So the metamorphosis had occurred at that point from Muffin Man to champ. Tell us about that, Mac.
Yeah. So he defends his title multiple times. And after he defended it multiple times, then he started to become the champ, because now he's no longer just known for eating muffin. Now he is now the champ for beating all these people in competitions. And that's when he started to morph from Muffin Man. It was so good. Another awesome little detail was when Wade would need a beer, he would go over. There was these really cute girls running the beer token stand or whatever, and he would just go over and he'd give this little eyebrow raise, like, and a little smile, and they would give him a token. Now, to be fair, I believe it was Troy, and I can't remember who else, but I was a part of it as well. But we chipped in and bought some tokens, so every time that he'd get a free one, we paid for it. Sorry, Jeff.
Come on.
But he'd go over and he'd just he's working his mojo, and he'd go to these cute girls and he'd be like, "Yo, baby," and they'd give him a beer token, and then as a way of him thanking them, he'd go in like this and they'd kiss him on the cheek. And it was absolute magic. He was just loving it. Sorry, champ. I did not know this moment.
So much for my machismo.
So hold on.
No, it
hold
was
on.
still there, champ.
We gotta just talk about that comment you just made. But Champ is in the beer garden or in the clubhouse beer garden, and he's drinking basically for free because he's a legend in 2004.
Yeah.
Because there's some legends out there that will try and convince you that in 2019 LWO invented beer tap technology, but I think we've just uncovered an entirely new origin story there, folks. Origins of beer tap, the first guy ever to do it. You're looking at him; he's right below me, right there. Look at that! It's like the Brady Bunch. The champ.
That's beer champ technology.
Beer champ technology. Here's to that.
Yeah. So anyway, the next challenge that I recall was actually a stranger, like not one of our crew. So up to this point, all of our crew is challenging. So I'm challenging, Julio and Ron are challenging, whatever. But at this point, a random came up and said, "Hey, I'll challenge you." And we're like, whatever. I was like ready to be like, no, this isn't open to the public. But of course, at this point, Champ's got his serious mojo. And he's like, yeah, whatever, let's do it. And so at that point, it was a boat race for 2 people. And it was random dude. And it had to be a male and a female in the boat race. And so dude has his partner looking a little rough around the edges, couple teeth up top, couple teeth on the bottom, looked like she could drink a beer pretty fast. And so I was like, oh man, we're in trouble here. We're gonna lose the championship belt to some random dudes from Williams Lake. And so Champ, and I can't remember who it was he chose as his partner, but I do remember she was kind of cute. It might have just been a random girl. Champ, do you remember?
Man, no. I just, pretty face, you're on my team.
Yeah.
That's what I remember.
Totally. And so 2-person boat race, ladies go first. And I totally remember the girl on Wade's team, God bless her, she was beautiful, but she could not drink a beer. She really struggled. And let's back it up a second. To introduce the boat race, we introduced the challenge to the crowd. And we said, and on this side, we have the champ. And the crowd's just going wild. And then at this point, people were starting to go like champ, champ, champ. And there were like there's singing going on in the background of the Rocky anthem, like da 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 da. So Wade's getting introduced as the champ, and everyone's going crazy. And then they say, and on this side, and no one heard anything after that because it was a rain of boos. It was just like, whoa, ah! And the hatred spewed toward the challengers. It was unbelievable. Then, go champ.
There was one, I'm not sure if it was this challenge, but there was a point where I remember I thought I was done. And I sort of looked for the exits and I saw the bathroom in the back, and I quickly scurried to the bathroom to see if I could do my best puke and rally that I could. And I remember being on all fours in the bathroom, and I had done the old finger down the throat a couple times, like going, there's no way I can keep this could keep this out. Coolio saying it was the ladies' washroom, which it very well could have been. And I puked. I was all on all fours, and I think it was Mac and Troy that they might have been looking for me or something, and they came into the bathroom, and I remembered, there he is, and they're giving me this pep talk. I'm sitting on all fours on the ground, and I'm just like, I thought I was 2 seconds from like just falling asleep, going just passing out. And I distinctly remember T. Roy just giving him one of those sort of pep talks, just like, come on, champ, you can do this. Your people are waiting for you. Come on, you can do this. They're all waiting out there. You can't just let them down. Come on, champ. This is you. Say it ain't so, champ. And I just seriously remember just this rush of this rush of what I owed everyone out there that I had to come through for the people. They were out there. They were looking for someone that was just needing to feel their struggles and persevere and come through in that critical moment. And so I happened to be wearing a hoodie at the time, and I remember sort of falling sort of down, and Matt grabbed my arm and he sort of lifted it up. It smacked down to the ground, and he did it again. And Troy still, come on, champ, you can do it. Falls again. And then I was like, the third drop, it just about came down, and the Hogan one finger came up, and I just heard Mac yell, yeah! And I got up on one knee, staggering, and I just gave the finger to the sky. And they got me up. I put my hood over my head, and they lined up in front of me. I had my hands on their shoulders, just mainly so I could walk and know where I was going. But we came out of that woman's bathroom, and the crowd started singing the Rocky anthem as I came out of the bathroom. I remember hearing the da na 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 da da da, and I started hopping to the music, and I looked at that mustache loser that challenged me, and I could not think of losing to this chotch. That's what I remember.
Champ, I love it. Your memory is a little bit off, but not too much. It wasn't that challenge. What you're talking about happened before the boat race with Julio.
Well, it happened somewhere.
It did happen. There's no doubt about that. And your memory of it was actually pretty good. Pretty good. But before that, we actually had a couple challenges before that. There was the foosball competition. It was Julio and Ellis.
I remember that.
And you chose me as your partner. And I'm not going to lie to you. The pressure. At this point, the champ was full-on celebrity. People loved the champ. So, like, if the champ went down, it would be disappointing for everyone. It was like, this is serious stuff. So I'm legitimately feeling pressure. This was like, oh my God, champ, like, you're choosing me for this. I feel like this is like too much for me. Like, what happens if we lose? Like, I'm taking all the blame, because champ at this point, he's not playing foosball. Let's be honest. Like, I was like, champ, put me on defense. You go forward, and we'll just see what happens. And I'm not gonna say that I carried champ, but I did what I could to get the ball up to him, and then he just kind of polished off. The game was played to 5 points on the foosball table. I distinctly remember this. It was a game to 5 only, and we beat Julio and Ellis. It was 5-2, and champ throughout this was playing like one-handed on the foosball table, drinking from his decanter, talking trash the whole time. Like stuff like that.
Autographs, kissing babies.
Yeah, like he's putting on a show. Oh, Troy wants me to finish that story. We'll go back. The woman, the 2-person boat race with the stranger. Oh God, we got to go back to this. So, cute girl. Terrible beer. 4-tooth woman drinks it pretty quick. Dude is probably about a quarter of the way through his beer before champ even like starts, and champ slams it down pretty good. Like, for Wade, it was like a pretty quick beer. Beats the dude. Crowd goes wild. Unbelievable. It was just like, and like that was like the crowd just ate that up. So like the mystique of the champ at that point was like legit. So that was before I had to do this foosball challenge, and so the pressure was legit. But we ended up beating Julio and Ron in the foosball. And I distinctly remember, and there's a good picture of Wade during this time. I'm playing with real concentration on my face in this picture, and Wade kind of looking like crazy look on his face. One hand, I can't remember if he's got a bit like I don't know if you can see the details on that picture, but Wade's not even paying attention to the table. Coolio's wearing a cowboy hat, reacting like something just happened, but this game is going on, and Wade is like just working his magic. Anyway, it was. I will just say this: the relief of winning that challenge with the champ was unbelievable, because I did not want to be a part of having the champ lose that title belt. That as soon as he lost that title belt, the perfect day ends. He's not going back to challenge for it again, because he's past the point of no return. It's unbelievable. So that was just like, oh my God. Thank God we got through that.
Oh,
That is unbelievable. Unbelievable storytelling. What time of the day is it at this point? Like, give us an idea. Is it 10 a.m.? Is it 1 p.m.? Where are we at here?
I'd like for you to guess, champ. I'd just like to hear your answer.
well, strictly by reading the perfect day again, like I have no fathom of time at this point, but I know that at some point, and I'd have to look back in the chapters, that I haven't eaten dinner. I don't think I've had much food all day. So I'm guessing this is 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock, past dinner time. Probably should have eaten, or did I eat already? I don't know.
You probably should have eaten, but I think it was probably a little earlier than that. I would say probably around like 6 o'clock at this point.
Oh,
And
so I'm within an hour.
Well, yeah, okay, fair enough. But this after that challenge, after the foosball challenge, was when we decided, like, oh my God, he's had basically a muffin and probably about 17 beer. We gotta get something into this guy.
We gotta go buy more chips for him at the fake beer gardens that he thinks he's a man at.
Yeah, well, we thought we thought like we got to do something to try to take care of this guy. He's the people's champ here. So we got you a steak dinner. They had steak dinners, steak, baked potato, and salad, I believe, Caesar salad. And so we managed to sit champ down, and then and Wade agreed to finally sit down to have some food. So we sit him down at a table.
I remember saying he's cheating multiple times.
Yes, that's true. Eaton's cheating. You were using it all the time. We're like, no, dude, you got to have some food. Like this, we're almost gonna kill you here. So we finally convinced you to sit down and have some food. And it was Becky Schumacher who was sitting with you. There was other people sitting at tables around you, but Becky Schumacher was sitting with you, and you were just kind of like sitting back, basking in the glory of being the champ. And you kind of, without even saying anything, it was implied through your gestures and through your machismo that Becky should probably like hand feed you this steak dinner. So she would daintily cut up some steak and feed it to you, and you'd have a little nibble and have some food. And then a couple, I distinctly remember it was a few bites of steak first. I don't know if you requested that or not, but that's what it was. And then she wanted to give you some potato. And you, as the fork was coming towards your mouth, kind of grabbed her by the wrist. Nope. And then you plucked the bit of potato off there, put it back on the plate. And champ, what did you say?
The champ takes sour cream on his potatoes.
Yes. The champ eats his potatoes with sour cream. And then we all laughed, and then she just put a little sour cream on it and then fed it to you, and then you accepted the piece of potato. It was absolute magic. So good.
I do remember the meal being very satisfying. After a long day of challenges and beer, and I think I puked at that point. I needed something in my stomach, so that definitely gave me that second wind that I so desperately needed.
Absolutely necessary.
Question from Mike Perry, who is not dead.
He's not dead.
No, I thought maybe we could revive him next episode because we'll have to boost the numbers. But since you are here, champ, let's let everyone know that Mike Perry is there. Shout out to you, Mike Perry. Mike Perry wanted to know if champ remembers asking Becky to put sour cream on your potatoes. Do you remember that detail, champ?
I do remember enjoying being hand-fed like a man baby. And
Fair.
I once again, that word machismo comes up. And at this point, I am just relishing the role of the champ. And I'm just sort of in my mind thinking, I am the champ. I am the champ. And I just need to enjoy this day to its fullest. And I have my young food taster feeder, and I just feel that I'm going to enjoy this moment and have her pamper me in every way. And I do generally remember trying to make that meal as long as it would possibly last.
Oh, I love
God
it.
bless you.
To avoid any more challenges.
Oh, also smart. So you're still somewhat lucid at this point, if that's what you're thinking. But I
Yeah.
love the fact. I love the fact that we've got the champ. He's rolling through this, and now the people have resurrected the champ from the floor, and they brought him to the ring, and he's now the people's champ. But you in your head, you are the champ, and so there's that synergy that propels you into the next bit of the evening, right? Like, I mean, it's almost like you get caught up in this whole, you're the champ. You just know it in the fiber of your being. You know it. And that is not alcohol at all. Like,
For
I've
the
been
people.
there.
The people's champ.
The people's champ. You know it. And that propels you into the remainder of the evening. And what happens next, Mac?
Champ. Well, and that is legit. Champ felt like he was the champ. He was no longer Wade. He was no longer the Muffin Man. He was the champ. That persona burned deep into his soul on that day. And it was just unbelievable to see happen. It was just like the perfect day. So this now leads up to the challenge with Coolio. And I'm sure there were challenges in between, but the next kind of like the penultimate moment of the evening was the challenge with Coolio. And this was what Wade was, the champ, was talking about when he was in the bathroom, and Troy and I had to pep talk him and get him back out. And he comes out with his hands on the shoulders of whoever was leading him out, me or Troy, I can't remember, hoodie over, the crowd's going crazy. And the champ's here, the champ is here. It was just unbelievable. The crowd goes crazy. So that I'm just going to add one thing. That challenge was over before it even started. If Wade doesn't make it out of the bathroom, that's the only way Coolio wins that challenge. But I will say this, right before the boat race, the 3-person boat race, and this is my favorite part, just about to start, Wade stops everything. They're doing introductions, and Wade says, stop here. And he stands up, full man proud, chest extended, like arms back, and gets in Coolio's face. And he just, in a full lion roar, I loathe you. And the crowd ate it up. I loathe you. And he repeated it twice, just like right in Coolio's face. I loathe you. And then he sits down in the competition and finishes off the boat race. And it was over. And it was just like unbelievable magic. So like that was the moment where the entire day just built up to this, and it was just so gold.
What about, where's Cliff? Cliff, stop! Where's Cliff?
Yes.
Cliff!
That's true.
Somebody get me Cliff. Cliff was on our team, right? Was he on our team?
No.
Where was Cliff? I know where he was from, but was he on someone else's team? How was he there?
I don't think he was
from
even playing
Armstrong.
soccer. He was just up partying. But you had played hockey with him in a previous like hockey tournament or something like that, right?
Probably, maybe.
I
remember I knew him, and like when I was early on, I was circling, doing my publicity stuff and circling around, seeing the people, shaking hands with mustache men, kissing babies, giving hugs for, any cute looking girl that would take it. And Cliff was sitting there at a table, and I just thought I'd pull up a chair and sit down beside Cliff and sort of, just find out what was really up with the people, the smaller people that, don't usually get to see the champ. And so I sat down beside him and I said, so Cliff, where are you from? He said, I'm from Armstrong. And I went, Armstrong? I remember being, oh my God, I'm all the way up here in Williams Lake. And here's a guy from Armstrong. I've been to Armstrong. And I was like, Pleasant Valley, home of the Raiders.
Spartans.
And I was so impressed with him that I just remembered that. And so before that challenge, I just needed, and I just knew Cliff. I just knew that he was that type of guy that you cannot forget where you're from. Cliff, if you're watching Cliff, don't ever forget where you're from. And so before that challenge, I yelled out, "Where's Cliff?" And someone busily, it might have been Mac, went and grabbed Cliff, and he came before the challenge with Coolio, and Cliff! And he's like, "Champ, what is it?" And I said, "Cliff, don't ever forget where you're from. Don't ever forget." And he said, "I won't, Champ." And that gave me that extra edge to beat Coolio in that final challenge.
That gave you the edge to use Ripper and Stanch to get through that challenge with Coolio. That's good. Good edge.
There was no way I was winning anymore. So I just had to, just like a regular champ would, you get all these glass Joes at the end, but I had to fix it, man. I had to fix it. That's how they do it. Money Mayweather, baby.
Champ, don't wreck the mystique. Don't wreck the mystique, my friend.
Well, I was supposedly getting free chips that I thought my machismo, but now they were actually bought for, like, dirty money.
Did you just find that out tonight on air? Like, was that an on-air reveal?
Didn't you see my heart break at that point?
Actually, now that I said that, Champ, I think that was me and Troy buying beers for ourselves, and maybe they just were giving you free ones, and it was a misunderstanding. I think maybe you were still getting free beers. Just saying.
That makes more sense.
Yeah, it totally makes more sense.
100%, yeah.
So just so you know, Champ, you played in a hockey tournament previous to this weekend with Cliff. You played on his team. Surely you didn't know him very well, but you knew him. He knew you. But being the champ, you embraced him and kind of took him under your wing. And I love the fact that you were saying, Cliff, from a small town, Armstrong, home of the finest cheddar. But don't be ashamed of that. Remember where you're from. Remember that. Don't be ashamed of where you're from. Just remember that. And I love that. And you know what? That is like legit. What makes you the people's champ is you could connect to people, even if you couldn't remember them. You connected with them on a level where it was just like the connection became real and magical. It was so good.
The people in the champ were one at that point.
Yeah. Oh, magical. Now, just to wrap things up, everybody needs heroes. Like, this is a legit thing where we look up to people, right? We have heroes, like, whether you're reading a superhero comic book, watching movies, whether you have, like, sports heroes that you look up. Everyone's got heroes in their life. And one of the things about a hero is we hold them up, and then eventually we understand their humanity and the real life behind that, because you think that someone's invincible and then you see they're not. And that can do two things. That can either ruin that hero for you, or it can make you appreciate that hero even more. And I distinctly remember at the end of the night when the champ was well past any more challenges, and I think we just said no more challenges. We might have just said, this is it, we're done. and the champ was being guided to a car to take him home. And I was watching from a distance. I didn't want to go too close. And this was like a sincere moment. I was watching him being led. Someone was helping, and he stopped along the way, and he was struggling. And to get him into the vehicle was really difficult. And I remember thinking, like, God damn, like that guy sacrificed a piece of himself for me. And a hero was legitimately made that day. Like that person who is in that condition right now did that for me. And that was the moment where I was just like, it was one of those moments of like, you look up at the stars and the stars are shining, and it's just like, whoa, this is what life's all about. And this guy gave me this moment of beauty, and that made me decide that I was like, we got to document this. And so then a few days later, once we got home from the tournament, I was like, I'm sending out emails. Like prepare specific. I was like, we're going to document this, and I'm going to retell the story. And so over a series of, I think it was like 6 days, 6 or 7 days, I wrote a chapter each day and sent it out to people who were at the tournament. And that's how this kind of story began. But that ending of the night was like, it was like watching a hero at the end. You know, it's like watching Muhammad Ali go up and light the torch at the Olympics, shaking with Parkinson's. And it was like, damn, that guy did all that for me. For me. It was magical and mystical. And for that, I will always thank the champ and regard you as the champ.
Thank you, Macker. That means a lot to me, that I really could mean that much to a fellow legend. And I'm sure any legend put in that same position would do the same for me. Cheers to all legends.
Cheers to that. Cheers from the champ. Champ, it's an amazing story, and Mac, what a great way to finish it. You know, a comment about meeting your heroes and the mortality of it. But you know, for one brief moment, Champ, you stood in the pantheons of the gods. I mean, you were in Valhalla, and you know, your mortal eyes only remember flashing lights and random noises. But you stood there, and I love the fact that, Mac, you decided to call this the perfect day. I mean, there's no perfecter day or perfectest day. There's no going back. And so in a lot of ways, I think it's hard for us as legends, little L legends, to your all caps lock legends, for us to really remember and recall and understand just how great a day that was. So thank you, champ. And you know, for a guy like me, I'm just so excited to have you on the program tonight. This has just been excellent reminiscing. Now, I do have to ask, and I already know the answer, but you know, where did you end up that night? Do you know? Do you remember? Do you recall? Is there any story around that, or is that it? Is it case closed? Because I've read The Perfect Day back to front and front to back, but there's no Perfect Day part 2. There's no perfect night.
It ends at chapter 9, but there is an unwritten 10th chapter that still to this day haunts me. I was brought home. I do not remember the ride home at all. And I remember we got taken back to Gussie's house. Gussie was a very kind landlord for a drunken Wade Muffin Man champ, sort of switched, and all the other legends, many legends that were there that day. I was tossed into a room. It was the guest room in the basement. I pretty sure it was in the basement, very near kitty corner to a washroom. I remember that. And a shag carpet. It was a plush shag carpet. And I don't recall being given a bed or like a rollout cot on the floor. That part is gone. I don't know. But there is one event that I, to this day, cannot fathom which way it went. And that was the event of pissing on Gussie's rug and Andrea's rug. When I was put in the bedroom, there was a dog. There was a dog that might have been in the room. Maybe this was the dog's room. The dog slipped in the room too. I don't recall much of that. I do recall getting up in the middle of the night. I remember walking into what I felt was a bathroom. The thing that's coming out on YouTube that a lot of people don't know is that the champ is 95% a sit-down peer. And so I recall sitting down on the potty and relieving myself in the bathroom. Now, I recall going back to sleep, feeling relieved, and in the morning, getting up, ready, trying to make a fresh day. The breakfast is, you can smell the eggs and bacon, and I think, I don't know who it was, Gussie or someone that came back upstairs and said, there's a big puddle of piss on the floor in the middle of your room, champ. I was like, what? And he's like, someone pissed on the carpet in your room. And I'm like, that had to have been the dog. Had to have been the dog. There's no way it was me. I've never done that in my life before. Never. And I didn't say this at the time, but I'm a sit-down peer, so I'm going to sit on the carpet and piss myself? I'm the champ. Didn't happen. It was the dog, and I'm sticking to that to the day I die. It was the dog, Gussie. And later on, I think the next year, they had to have a friend that owned a carpet store replace the carpet, and they were very nice in chopping out a belt-sized layer of that carpet, and they brought it to me saying, here's the champ's piss carpet belt. And that's chapter 10.
You gave it to the dog, right?
Well, champ, I don't know where we go from there.
It was Lanai was the name of the dog.
Lanai.
And Lanai at that time was house trained, but getting a little bit older. So I'm just gonna leave that door open.
We may never know
Like
the real
caramel.
answer to that. What's that,
You
champ?
never know.
You
It's
never
like the
know.
caramel secret. You never know.
Well, if you're still with us, thanks for following along. That is
No, I'm
the
not.
origins, the making of the champ. And I understand, I think I saw earlier in the chat that Gussie and Andrea were watching along. So welcome to the show. And yeah, it may have been the dog. It might have been the champ. Are we done this section? I mean, that seems like a good spot to end. I think I have one more question for the champ, maybe. And this was one that T-Roy wanted to know when we were chatting about this episode. You really were the people's champ, and you know, is there anyone who in the history of the champ who was maybe not a member of LWO that you think should have that legendary status, that you think should be acknowledged by the People's Champ live and on air? Is there anyone specific that comes to mind?
Well, Holla, it's interesting that you've asked this question because it's something I've put a lot of thought to over my life since being named the champ. And there's two people that I really feel deserve the acknowledgement of the LWO. And the first one is Dr. Mike Warby, who is right now fighting the good fight, and he is a professor at the University of Arizona and is in one of the world leaders in infectious diseases, I believe, evolutionary biology, and trying to find a cure and a vaccine for COVID-19. I really heavily have thought that, he should be an honorary member of the LWO. But on another thought, talking this over with T, that, his contributions to humanity are great, but they are directed towards all of humanity and not strictly to the LWO. So I have to take away his ability to be in the LWO because that's sort of for everyone and not just for us. So he was a close second. The first person that I think deserves this prestigious honor of being in the LWO. Back in the day, there was a LWO annual general meeting, and I believe there was some sort of raffle that Jose, if he's still up, thanks Jose for donating this Texas Mickey of Rye towards this LWO raffle. Anyways, this raffle, where there was tickets sold for this giant Mickey of Rye. I don't know if it was called LW Orton at the time, but it was a large bottle. And we sold tickets, and the winning raffler was Monty's and Gee's and Gammy Leg's aunt, and she won this giant Mickey of Rye. And that was great that it went to someone in the family, the Walters family, greatly deserved. And just in typical Walters fashion, just all gave that Mickey of Rye back to the LWO for their annual general meeting. So we would like to make Monty Geese and Gammy Legs and Dave and Rich, their aunt, a full-fledged member of the LWO for her contributions to LWO legendary. So there it is.
All it takes is a Texas Mickey.
That's it is. COVID-19 is one thing, but
that's fantastic stuff.
As just a little tidbit of information, Mike Warby did play with the Livewire Lightning back in the day.
And T. Roy ixnayed that. He said, no, it's got to be in the tournament, so no, he doesn't count.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. And he wasn't. Oh, Jose! Look at Jose breaking out. I don't think he was like a multi-year guy. He might have played 1 year and maybe just for a couple games.
Yeah, I think didn't Grinder say something? He remembered Mike trash talking some mustache tree planter on another team, tell him to go back to the mountain or something like that.
Obstruction.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah.
So, Champ, before we move on to the next segment of the evening, I know you put together a few photos for the group that you wanted to walk us through. Do we want to tee that up? Do you want to give some of your memories, not necessarily from the perfect day, but now's your chance to share We've got a live audience, 22 viewers. Thank you for tuning in. Champ, what do you think? Are you?
I will do it. Like we're at that 1 hour 20 minutes, but I can rip through them.
Let's do it.
All right, let me do it up here.
Let's do it, Champ.
All
Why
right.
not? We need to come down after the epic sit down peeing reveal live and on air on LWO radio.
All right.
And I can't claim credit for that. That was Luke out there. Thanks, Luke. Appreciate it. Yeah, it was the big reveal of tonight's episode. And
there you go.
I can assure you that Troy did not uncover that in his research. That was a live surprise for all of us.
He is a crack reporter, but he never knew that about the champ.
Yeah. No
all right.
worries.
Here we go.
I'm ready. We are ready in the technical booth for you to share.
There we go.
Okay.
Memories from the champ. All right. So we're going to start with a lot of these. I'm going to give credit to Mac and T. Roy. Some of these slides were from the 25th annual slideshow that they played on the monitor at the 25th anniversary of the LWO. So the legends go way back, and you can see here these are 4 mini legends that didn't know their athletic prowess. And this is Jose, Wade, Monty, and Mac. This is the famous operating engineers picture that showed how the LWO came back from its origins in Salmon Arm. This is that famous LW Orton, Texas Mickey, and this is the one and only LWO AGM. It was first held in Monty's basement, and those were the original legends at their finest.
Look at Joe's mustache in that one. That's good.
Jose had a pretty sweet cookie duster in that one for sure. Other events, which were pay-per-view, held like the Snow Bowl to appease the throngs of rabid LWO fans who couldn't wait until August-long weekend to see their favorite team. And unfortunately, Monty wasn't in this picture since he was the punter and not a real player, so we didn't allow him in this picture.
And I took that picture. That's why I'm not in that one. Just saying.
There we go. Shaw's there, so yeah, Mac might have been there too. Just the one shot of one of the many championships that were won, including this 2006 shot taken in Salmon Arm of a bunch of sexy legends. There we are. That was the last tournament in Salmon Arm that we won. That's correct, right, Mac?
That's the last one we won. I don't know if it was the last Salmon Arm tournament, but definitely the last one we won.
Last one we won. A lot of visionaries were on our team, including Murray Hurlburt, who is the original Tiger King. He's right there in front, and Murray's always been a visionary of things to come. Now, these are some shots of the tournament program that many LWO members have been the front page picture. This is Scottish legend Davy McFate, who mentored many a young legend in the fine art of flopping. And you can see his famous flop there. No one really near his legs, but him going down like a bag of hammers.
Oh, he was clipped. He was clipped.
God save Robbie Null. Long live and he, yes, a fine cracker of a shot from a left-footed legend, Robbie Null. 2008, as you can see inside the program, this was the long-awaited debut of the LWO's new designated player, Grant Gussie Gustafson.
Oh, legend, done better.
Also in 2008, the first LWO video game. This is FIFA 08 with many fine legends donning the front cover and Monty looking like a young gold dust there. 2010, many legends on the cover of that program. We have Jägermeister there. Number 22 now. Mac, correct me if I'm wrong. Is that not the Rock's number? I'm thinking that he maybe didn't have a jersey at that time and he borrowed the Rock's extra jersey.
I think you're right. I think
would
you're
like
right.
to
I think
actually
that is the Rock.
I'd like to get Sam. I'd like to get Sam's opinion on this because that's the Rock's number, and Jaeger also has a 74, which he should just trash right now because there's 174, and it says it right on the screen right now. I mean, Sammy wants to be me. That's a cool thing, but yeah, whatever.
Once we got numbers into the 70s, I lost track of whose number is whose, so it's hard to keep track. But I think you're right, champ.
I'm pretty sure that he needed a fresh jersey or he forgot his or puked on it or something, and he had to borrow the Rock's.
Seems legit.
And there's Jay Haas in there. This episode dedicated to Jay Haas there in the background. And I just want to focus attention on the size of the guns on Coolio. Like, he's looking like young Ric Flair there with the guns that size.
Old school Coolio.
Old school Coolio. This was 2011. And this I remember very well because I'm standing in the background there in the white shirt. This is after my injury, I believe, in the semifinals. My knee got toasted. And this was sort of a changing of the guard because you can see Jägermeister there and Pebbles on the header there and Stinkhammer Mike Perry there, number 16. Many of the new legends on the field with the original guard watching from the sidelines, hoping that these young guys can pull it through for one more championship. Near and dear to my heart. This was 2013. The champ gets married, and you can see the twinkle in everyone's eyes in this picture. These are my best man and the groomsmen there. The champ and Mrs. Champ decided to get hitched, and just a prosperous look at the future by these three young gentlemen to my right. But I'm just sort of wondering where they've gone to now. So this is present day Monty Walters. He's turned to the dark side. Here is Monty Vader, and lurking in his shadow, an evil Emperor Stanchantine, who has turned Monty to the dark side. T. Roy, well, I believe he's presently in Italy. He's working on the C circuit level modeling bad-fitting men's leisure suits, along with this other Italian designer wearing his biking shades, Holla. Looking fine there, Holla.
I had to suck in my gut on that one. I'm not gonna lie.
That's a good one.
Suck in the peen.
This unfortunately is a picture of Jose Sawada just yesterday in the slums of Toronto. It's sad, really, that fallen from the heights that he was to what he looks like now. This was him back when he was highlighting the covers of the Salmon Arm Observer sports page. And, you can see here how there's a young lad down on his butt for a slide check, and the ball's above the other man's head. And there's Jose kicking him in the ribs. Broke, I believe, 3 ribs on that dirty play. Never played with a dirtier player than this guy. Look at that full head of hair.
Champ, can we just look at that headline for a second? Tell us a little bit about the headline.
So this is Mrs. Champ. This is her maiden name, Herperger. And we always have a giggle that she was a 2-time defending champ with Cruisewear from Kelowna, and a hometown girl where she has got the headline, but once again, who gets the front page picture? The LWO. So,
And I think that this story was not about her playing on the field. I think it was just about her like looks, right?
it was, her nickname was Hot Burger. So it was well before this headline was even written. It was Hot Burger and Big Mac was the coin when we were seeing each other in those early years. But yeah, we always have a laugh that it's a title about her and then a picture with Dirty Jose Cuervo on the front.
That's about right.
Oh, and this was a momentous day with my son Carter. This is the first day that we actually read The Perfect Day to him, and this is my favorite part where we both had a good laugh of how Mac could be such an idiot and choose the blueberry muffin. So my daughter also had the opportunity to listen to The Perfect Day, but she simply responded with, no, I'm good, and walked away.
I would have thought that the chocolate chip was too rich. Just saying. Like that was my rationale, but I was wrong. Wrong. Dead wrong.
As the champ said, you're an idiot. Clearly an idiot.
Do you know that how that would have swung the history of the LWO if you actually would have chose the chocolate muffin that day? There would have been no champ.
I am sincerely happy I chose blueberry.
So am I, because you know, being the champ has basically been the shining light of my life. So that's where I end my memoirs of the champ, and I'm hoping that all legends enjoyed just a brief history of some of the memories that the champ has had with the LWO.
That was exquisite. Absolutely exquisite. Thank you, champ. You know, it's going to be hard to top that in future episodes. Really appreciate it. But you know, we've got to wrap this thing up. So
Yes.
Totally good. Let's move on to the next section. The next section, as we wrap up the origin story, the making of the perfect day. Before I do, actually, how does one get the perfect day? Is there going to be a reprint, Mac? Can you tell us a bit about that?
Whew, good question, Holla. Right now, demand is a little bit low, but I'm expecting demand to go through the roof. I do have a online version that I can distribute to anyone who is requesting that. Please just send in your requests to the LWO radio page, and I can forward that to you. Or you know what? If demand is hot, we're going to do a reprint. We're going to make this happen. Yeah,
it's going to be hot, and
we'll do a hard copy edition.
You know, and I don't want to say this without consulting with our sponsor, but of course, Retract a Sec and a copy of The Perfect Day. And it's Mother's Day coming up, so
perfect
what better
gift
way to celebrate that for your mama? It's the perfect gift. All right, moving right along. Let's talk about the next section. As you know, last week we premiered the section Where Are They Now, where we featured a certain young gentleman, but that goes by the name of Pebbles. This week we've got another Where Are They Now, and I'd like to turn this over to Scotty for this section, which of course we call Where Are They Now? Scotty?
Thanks, Holla. I'm glad we're still calling it that, so I don't have to change anything on my computer here. As in the last version, I did not try very hard then, and I'm not going to try very hard now. I reached out to somebody that I know, because again, not trying. We're going to focus on Mr. Keith Whitehead this week. Keith Ski, as he's affectionately known, dates back many years, probably, now in LWO folklore. Keith joined the LWO as one of the young bucks from Bays when the LWO first attempted to merge with some island players. Keith has also adapted the nickname Creepski from his genuine nature and his ability to fall in love with other players' wives during tournaments. But Keith is a savvy defender or midfielder. I don't remember. He likely drinks too much and he chain smokes from time to time. Yet is still the most responsible person in his place, from what I'm told. He is one to never shy away from a potential scoop mid-game, whether it makes sense to or not. And Keith Ski is also a world traveler. I believe he has a general fondness of Germany. Possibly works in the rail industry. I have no idea. But hey, he's a solid gold dude. He may show up in your doorstep one day, or multiple days if you're clueless or old school, but that's okay. He's a legend. So where is this legend now? There he is. When I asked the question, I received this response. That's Grizzly Falls, just outside of Boston Bar. I said, why Boston Bar? And his response is, because it's the only bar open during this COVID-19 thing. That's where Keith Ski is now. Back to you, Holla.
Keith Ski, cheers to you. I hope you're having a great time up at the bar. And thank you for letting us use that photo. Our legal team appreciates it. All right. Well, I will not subject us to any more of that. Moving right along, the next segment, as you guys know, we did have a contest that was open last week for an LWO care package. We had 7 entrants. So, basically these people answered the question correctly, which was, of course, the one that Mac posed around why does LWO wear yellow? And of course, the correct answer was that Gammy had stolen the socks, the lightning socks from the high school, and had worn them and insisted on wearing yellow. So thank you for those that got involved. We are going to do a live draw for the win. And so you could see on screen, this is the real deal. We spared no expense on the wheelofnames.com. These are the people that correctly answered. So we've got Alec, Brem, Champ himself, Coolio, Dolly. Hopefully, Dolly, you're listening this week. I'm sure you're out there, probably with Monty, Shaw, and of course, the man himself we were just talking about, Jaeger. So right now, basically, I'm going to spin the wheel, and we're going to see who wins. This is exciting. Oh, Jesus Christ. Brebner, you, sir, are the winner. We will be in touch for the LWO care package. I know Mac had hoped that Shaw would win because he had a very special care package in mind. But Brem, you could actually probably receive that as well. So congratulations to you, Bremner. Thank you for playing along. And of course, that contest is over, but we do have a very special contest. So if you've stuck with us this far, it is going to be worth it. And on this, I have to turn it back over to the people's champ here. Champ, take it away.
Now, there are prizes, but then there are prizes. This LWO scarf was given to my young nephews back when they were first issued. It has been held in the highest regards on their wall, but when I was back in Salmon Arm probably a month back now, I saw it on their wall and said, you know what? That scarf could go to a deserving legend that does not have his own yellow scarf. So they generously gave me back this yellow scarf, which, mind you, it's not quite the one, but I took it, first of all, to be wrapped around the Stanley Cup. I kept that one because that's the champ's Stanley Cup scarf. So this is the other one that I possess. And I say there's 2 criteria for winning this yellow scarf. You have to be a full-fledged member of the LWO, and you can't already have a scarf of this type already. So this week's contest will be for the legend who is already a full patch member of the LWO but does not possess a yellow scarf already. Boom.
That just happened in a show of firsts. First time everyone knows Champ sits down to go pee. The first time ever on LWO radio, we've been able to give out an original scarf. This is a big deal. So you've heard what the Champ wants. You know the criteria. If you don't have an original scarf and you are a member of the LWO, please send an email in. Okay, so you can send it to Troy because everyone has Troy's email. And we're going to send it on to the Champ this week. And by next episode, the Champ will pick and forward on a winner to us. So get involved. I mean, this is beyond expectations. But yet again, the People's Champ is delivering. And, you know, in a lot of ways, it's going to be a difficult show next week to top this one. It has been truly terrific. So my thanks to you, Champ, for that. A big contest. Get involved. If you don't have a scarf, this is one thing that you're going to want to send a very compelling email as to why that scarf needs to belong to you. And we will award it on the next episode of LWO Radio. Keep you coming back for more. All right, just a few more things before we finish up. Of course, we've got our announcements, an announcement section that we do every week, a chance to do some community announcements. This week, when I pulled Troy, basically, because he knows everyone and he knows what's going on in the LWO community, he had a number of birthdays to mention. So raise your glasses, legends, not just on LWO radio itself, but also, if you're watching along, raise your glasses to this. First of all, we got Shaw. Happy birthday, April 19th. Mac, you probably should have got our present. And if you didn't, there's your reminder. April 19th was a few days ago. Kelly Vincent, April 22nd. Happy birthday. I saw you were watching in, so happy birthday to you. Lebs, April 23rd. Going to be on the next show. That's a bit of a reveal. So, Lebs, happy birthday to you. Poulis. We thought we forgot about you, the doctor. April 29th. I love you, brother. Happy birthday. And of course, Jose, if you're still with us, April 30th. So happy birthday to you, legends. Thank you very much for sticking along with us. It's like you can see the alcohol taking effect the more you've stayed with us. And if you're watching this Saturday morning, God bless you, because it's not the same as it is live. The other announcement is we will be back for an episode 3 next week, probably the same time, although we are in negotiations with our guests. The theme of that episode will be Williams Lake and Bays United. So inland waterways and coastal byways, I think, is what we're going with. I think it's going to be Lebs, as I mentioned, as well as Benny Stanchel joining Scotty and I on the hot seat. And Lebs and Benny, if you're watching, the gauntlet's been thrown, my friends, because this show was pretty epic. I don't know how you beat that, but we're gonna give it the old college try, and probably by lots of drinking will certainly get us on our path. So that's done. Announcements are done. We're gonna go to shout outs, and who am I going to first? I think I'm gonna go to Mac. Mac, can I go to you first?
Should I go to absolutely.
You first? All right, let's go to you first, Mac.
Yeah, I'd just like to. Back in the day, when we first started winning tournaments with the LWO, we started getting some money, and money bought us merchandise. And we decided, like, we're going to keep, just like the champ, we need to keep the people happy. And so we started to buy merchandise for the ladies. And so I'd like to shout out to the LWO Angels out there. And our first generation LWO Angels involved such legends as Sarah Shaw, Andrea McCarville, Alana Robinson, Nikki Bruce, Salmon Arm legend, Angel Panette, Kelly Vincent, and I've got a couple historic kind of pieces of memorabilia from back in the day. This was a original LWO Angels. I don't know if you can see that. It's so faded, but there's the original one. This was a custom-made one for Shaw back in the day. We also made a custom-made tube top or tank top. We started to get a little bit more revealing as we started to give these, which was a good decision for us. And then, of course, anyone who decided to wear a tank top during or a tube top, sorry, during beer gardens, I also really appreciate that. Got a couple pictures that I'd just like to share. So don't know if you can see that right now. Holla, can you see that right now?
Just waiting for the share to come through there, Mac.
Yeah, so I got a couple shots, and I'd just like to throw this out to the LWO Angels that we just absolutely desire some shots of the ladies in LWO paraphernalia. And so I've got a couple shots here. Are we showing this right now, Holla?
Not yet there, Mac. We are waiting for the IT to catch up with your genius music,
Damn.
my friend.
Yeah. Well, hold up. Hold up.
Close
The interweb
tab.
well, kind of, yeah.
Close that.
How are we doing?
We got it.
Oh,
yeah.
hey.
So this was at the 25th anniversary, and I am not lying about this, just like I am not lying about any of the stuff with the champ. This was sent to me 2 days ago. Lovely photo. This is not my wife, but just a picture that was sent to me just as a great reminder of the memorabilia that we put out for the ladies. So I'm just going to throw it out there. My shout out is to all the LWO Angels out there. Please send us some pictures of you wearing, something LWO sexy, and you can give it right to me directly, or put it on the stream for LWO Radio. Boom.
Fantastic shout out. Came prepared. Nice work, Mac. All right, moving right along. Let's go with you, Scotty, next. I'd like to hear your shout out.
Mine is not very well prepared. Again, that's the theme of me, is not preparing. I'm going to pick Mr. Robbie Knoll, though. The only reason is it's not because he's a great guy, he's a great goal scorer, anything like that, but because he is the closest thing I will ever come to meeting the Queen. So shout out to Robbie Knoll for being English.
Fantastic. Nice work.
Yeah.
All right, champ, we're coming to you. You will always be the champ to me, my friend. People's champ. What's your shout out?
All right. I have a double shout out, and I'm going to show some pictures here as well. So just here we go. The champ's visual shout out. So this is going to be a question to Mac, and if he can figure out who this shout out is to. Any legends that are still out there listening to this, if you put in the chat, if you know who it is, you can also do that. So, Mac, this is Javier De La Fuentes, and he is famous in LWO history for what? Do you know who this man is?
No, I do not.
You do not know. You do know who this is. This shout out is to the only Mexican national who the LWO.
His name is not Javier De La Fuentes.
Yes, it is.
Oh,
you don't know who it is, and you're questioning.
I know who it is now. Murray Hilbert was trying to bang this girl from Brazil.
Wrong story.
Oh, what? Okay, go.
I want to hear yours though. Anyway,
is this man Brazilian?
No, he's Mexican. I just said he's a Mexican national.
No say.
You know who he is.
It's not Iri Dominguez Torres.
Here he is. His name is Javier De La Fuentes.
No
he
say.
was invited to the champ's wedding. He was a young exchange student from Mexico that was living with the champ's wife's uncle, and they came to the wedding, and the LWO successfully caused this young, I believe he was 16-year-old Mexican exchange student, to get absolutely plastered by feeding him shots because he was sitting at the LWO soccer boys table. He became absolutely wrecked. He grabbed Mrs. Champ at her wedding, danced with her, went to dip her, dropped her on the floor. She still has a scar from the rug burn that ensued from the dropping on the dance floor. And the next week, he was officially sent back to Mexico by the champ's wife's uncle because of the disgrace that happened at the wedding. He is now a mayor of a small town in Mexico called Querétaro. And it's just another brilliant story in the life of the champ that a young Mexican national that was beaten so badly by the LWO has come to be a winner in life. And my first shout out goes to Javier De La Fuentes. The second shout out, of course, goes to the Nessmans, the official band of the LWO. They need no introduction, but I will give one anyways. This is Koski, and this is Spilly T. Benson, and missing from the shot is Maddie Fatigay Phillips. So my shout out to the Nessmans for all they have done for the benefits of the LWO.
Well, what a fantastic set of shout outs. I was reminiscing there. Querétaro, I think, is where Camilo Cerveza went from the Whitecaps. So maybe there was a bit of BC influence in that, and potentially LWO as well. So thank you for that, champ. My shout out this week goes to LWO Radio's executive producer. I'm talking about T Money Troy. My thanks to you, sir. You are really bringing this together for me. You're keeping a lot of things off of my plate as we plan out future episodes. You're doing a ton of research, getting guests ready and primed and ready to go. And I know you weren't on this episode, but this episode was in a big part due to you and getting the champ on, getting the Mac back for Big Mac Attack. And
you're the man,
I
T.
really appreciate it, T. So T Money, this shout out is to you, my friend. And on that bombshell, just a few minutes shy of 2 hours, I'd like to thank you all for joining us. It's been a lot of fun. I think we've all had a nice walk down the perfect days past. We've got to know the champ a little bit better. For those of you who are there, I hope that you were able to relive this day alongside of us. For those of you that weren't there, like myself, you got to grab just a piece of that glory that was there. And I hope that we all remember that the champ is forever the champ. It's not negotiable. That the champ, the perfect day is done. There's no perfecter day. There's no recapturing the glory. This guy is a legend, and he is the champ, and he's the champ for a reason, lest we forget. So cheers to you, champ. Thank you for joining us. Beers high, legends. Fantastic show. Thank you for joining in. Like I said at the start of the show, please hit subscribe. One thing I did note is there's a little thumbs up icon below your screen right now. Can you give it a tap? Just let us know that you enjoyed the show. I'm sure you did. Pretty hard not to enjoy that. Makes a big deal to us. We're not monetizing, so it's not like a financial thing. It's just give us a thumbs up, leave a comment, let people know, watch us back. We got over 300 views on episode 1. It just blew us away. And I think that speaks to the power of LWO. In these hard times, we're happy to bring you a bit of happiness, and yeah, we'll be back for more episodes. I'd like to thank my guests tonight. Mac, thank you. Fantastic episode again, Mac. I got a feeling that if you miss the next episode, people are going to be asking about you. So maybe we'll get you on for a future episode, but thanks a lot. Champ, thank you for joining us, clearing your schedule, your busy schedule. Fantastic episode. Cheers for that.
It's been a pleasure, Holla. I just once again just thank you everyone for all the support, especially in the initial makings of the champ. He's the people's champ and couldn't have done it without you.
Fantastic, Champ. Thanks again. And of course, my co-host with the mo-host, Scotty Too Hottie Rimek. Thanks for joining us, Scotty.
Hey, I'm still standing, holding on to the dresser, but I'm standing, bud.
All right. I love it. And again, once again, I haven't gone pee in the bathroom, but of course I've had a few accidents on the computer desk chair. So with that said, thank you all legends. You know it, and stay legendary.